All right, good to go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 4:05. We're calling this meeting of the Judicial and Public Safety Strategic Planning and Technology Commission to order. Madam Recording Secretary, if you'd please start the roll.
Barrero, Conant, Felton.
Here. Here.
Payne, Myrna Molina,
Molina present.
Nydia Molina,
Here.
Mosser, Pirog.
Here.
Got you. Thank you. Roth,
Roth is here.
Villa, Wallers,
Here.
Braca.
Here, we have a quorum. We will proceed to business. There are two remote attendance requests. State's Attorney Jamie Mosser and Dr. Phil Garber. Dr. Phil Garber was recently appointed on December 17th to this commission. Are there any objections to the remote attendance of Dr. Garber or Ms. Mosser?
No problem.
Hearing no objections, remote attendance requests are approved. The next order of business is the approval of minutes from the October 9th, 2025 meeting. I believe everyone received an electronic copy of that. I'd also like to note Chief Judge Villa is present. Judge Villa, we're on item 4, the approval of minutes from the October 9th, 2025 meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Everyone received a copy, I believe, remotely, and there's extra copies here today. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Roth would make a request to do unanimous approval of the minutes.
Is there a second?
With unanimous, you don't. It's just verbal agreement of everyone.
No second.
You don't need it when you do unanimous approval,
Unanimous consent.
consent.
There being a motion for unanimous consent approval of the minutes. Any objection? Hearing none, voice vote, all in favor say aye.
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 Approved. No one has signed up for public comment. I believe there are no other partners that have registered or asked to be addressed today. Presentation and announcements, introduction of new members. Again, I would like to welcome Dr. Phil Garber, who was appointed on December 17th by Madam Chair. Dr. Garber holds a PhD in developmental psychology, and believe me, I wish I could have a session today from the way that things have been going. But be that as it may, his most important position that is so relevant to this commission is he is the current vice president at Elgin Community College of Planning Institutional Effectiveness Technology since 2019. And he served in that same department as executive director since 2008. He has experience then in both the public and the private sector in effective communication skills and of course technology. And as the main purpose of this commission is to provide the technological support of the case management system for Kane County and the justice partners to the public, to the court system. All of his experience, both academic and professional, will serve this commission well. And Dr. Garber, thank you for your willingness to serve. Madam Chair, thank you for the wisdom of your appointment.
Thank you.
The next item of business on presentations announcements is the 2025 budget report. You received some handouts today regarding that, and I'm going to ask Director of IT, Mr. Fonstock, if you would please address those.
Sure. This is Roger Fonstock with the county's IT and buildings department. We provided 2 reports today. There should be one on screen for those attending remotely. And there's just a few things that we wanted to share with you today. Number one is this first report is the fiscal year end. So November 30th, we ended fiscal year 2025. At the end of the year, the general finding is that for revenue right now, we're slightly under on revenue. We're at 98% for our RTA sales tax. We do believe there's receipts that are going to be coming in and that we'll be updating that number. And I believe we probably will receive more than what we projected, but we'll wait and see until we get the actual sales tax receipts. As far as I know, that sales tax has been slightly, yeah,
Microphone, please.
My
that's
apologies.
fine.
We should be able to get that information sometime by mid-February.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah, this is Roger. It just tracks a little bit behind because of the receipts from the state. The other thing is that as you look down about the third line item, you'll see budget less year-to-date transactions of $220,000 for the fund balance utilization. That's indicating that we didn't use the fund balance. We had budgeted for it for expenses, but didn't use it. So we're at 80% of revenue for the year. So that looks good. If you go to the bottom half of the first page, you'll see our expenses for, salaries and employee personnel benefits. If you go to page 2, Blair, on page 2, there's 2 items that I wanted to draw out. The first line item, which is contractual consulting services, where you have budget less year to date is 102,000. I believe there might be some invoices still coming in for that. And then below that, 2 lines below that is software license cost. And we have 233,704 remaining. We make quarterly payments for software license maintenance and services. So we believe there may be invoices still to post for that. But that's where the expense side is really coming in under budget for right now. But we do believe there's possibly some more invoices that we'll see before the year end. If you look at the third and final page of this year-end expense report, you'll see some totals. On the revenue side, we're still ahead. We're at, we've collected 87% of the revenue, but we are not using the fund balance. So we're ahead there. And then on the expense side, we're at 79% with $394,000 under our projected budget for expenses. So we're doing good. I do believe that we will receive some invoices before we close out the fiscal year, but I do not believe that it'll be 394,000. We'll finish in the black by several $100,000, which is good because we're going to try to do more work in 26, and I'll share with you the 26 budget in just a moment. Do you have any questions about 2025 end of year report? I think it looks good. I think we came in pretty much on target for revenue, and right now we're under on expenses. I'm looking to take some of that into 2026 to do some work. So if not, we do have the 26 budget. There's another 2-page report. Blair, if you want to pull that up, great. Thank you. So online, you'll see one is revenue, and we're projecting a little bit higher revenue, 2% higher. The revenue is the sales tax from the RTA. It's 1.6 million that we receive. It's a little bit higher than prior year by about $32,000 projection. And then we have our investment income and interest income, which is 31,000. And then we carried the 25 money that we thought was going to be remaining in the expenses into 26. So you'll see a fund balance utilization where we're saying we're going to try to use $353,000 of the fund balance to do more work in 26. The good news is that there is a fund balance. I was going to print a balance sheet. I will bring one of those or send one of those out so you can see the fund balance and the balance sheet. But for fund balance utilization, we're projecting 353,000, and a lot of that is based on carrying over what we had in last year's fund balance utilization. Those are primarily for projects, things that we think are more one-time expenses, things that we want to instigate or get started in the new year. All in all, the budget that was approved by the county board, was first approved by this commission, which is actually a major part of this commission, is to recommend this budget. But then it was approved by the county board. It's $2,030,422. We started that December 1st, working with the 2026 budget. We did not do an expense report because we're just getting started with this fiscal year. There wouldn't be a lot of expenses in the month of December anyway. But at the next meeting, we'll bring an expense report that'll show you a full quarter of expenses or 90 days of expenses. And you'll be able to see our budget performance, how we're doing on spending. Typically, you're looking at what our personnel costs are, contractual commodities, and any capital expenses that we have for the court case management system. So that's the 2026 budget report for revenue and expenses. Again, nothing exceptional to report. And all of this was based on the budget that the county board approved and that this commission recommended. That's all I have.
Any questions for Roger? Roger?
Yeah.
On behalf of the commission, we'd like to thank you and your team of workers who are the real workhorses in preparing the budget for presentation to the stage. And how good a job you do is reflected in the fact that this budget, the 2025 budget, appears to have been spot on. And I'm sure that the 2026 is going to be likewise. One thing I would like to add, and another set of thanks to State's Attorney Masser for assigning Assistant State's Attorney Stephen Ford to work on the ordinance and other issues on the commission. Mr. Ford and I have discussed a review of the, I hate to call it a bailout, but that's what the bailout was for the RTA and the CTA. And the sweep that the Illinois State Legislature did of certain funds and statutory changes. And Mr. Ford has indicated he is going to do a search of that legislation, which is actually massive, to determine whether or not there is any effect on the funding base for our case management system. We're funded we're funded out of a percentage of the motor vehicle fuel tax that Kane County receives. And that funding is there's a statutory amount that's sent, and then the amount that goes to the funding of the case management system that this commission makes recommendations on to the county board to vote on to fund the case management system and the work of the justice partners is by local ordinance. It is incumbent on us to find out whether or not there is some statutory change done or prospective that is going to affect Kane's share of the motor vehicle fuel tax, because that will have an effect on funding for our case management system and the related justice partners. And as I said, Mr. Ford is going to do a read of that statute, which is massive. And I'm sure that we'll be able to provide further information at the next meeting. And then if there is an effect, we will have to put our thinking caps on to how we are going to fund our case management system on a continual basis, because there is no going back. We've been there, done that back in at the start of the prior to 2014, and we know we have to keep our system up to date and funded. And so let's hope that we really don't have to put our thinking caps on where that money is going to come from. You know, we can't pull out a couple of $1 million just scraping around. And so that will be probably on a new business item for the next meeting. Any other questions for Mr. Feinstock? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to the next item of business.
Excuse me,
which is-
I do have one, if I may. I do have one. Roger, I just want to clarify under salaries and wages.
Sure.
I noticed that there is about a $53,000 increase, give or take. Does that include the CPI increase for employees?
I don't believe we had one included in the budget at that time. So we'll be circling back if that's approved by the board to determine if that's something we need to try to make an adjustment for. But a lot of these salaries are prorated portions of salaries. So we'll do some math and contemplate how that would play out if we were doing the cost of living type of adjustment within this budget.
Within,
It wasn't contemplated, in June when we submitted.
all right, so what has been suggested, as you well know, that we do not take any additional funds out of the general fund for
Yeah.
distribution into into the salaries. We'd have to look for budget amendments within restricted budget and then make a budget adjustment for that to happen.
I think that's something that, once we get direction, we would start picking that up and looking at how that would play out.
So Judge, how do you
So,
feel?
well, certainly that's an issue, but I think that the determination has to be made at some level. As you say, most of these salaries are a prorated portion of other salaries, whether the increase will be prorated as well out of these salaries. But that's beyond my pay grade certainly, which is zero.
Yeah.
But I think that is
I think
a fiscal decision you'll have to make.
I believe it's important and
Oh.
fair.
Sure.
This is Roger again from IT and Buildings. The thing I would say is that in order to put additional funding or move funding between line items into personnel, you'd have to take back a full resolution, which the finance department would need to review with us. So I don't know that we're ready to say how we would do that right now. I can tell you that based on the amount of money in our personnel budget for salary and wages, 3% is it's like $9,000 to $10,000. So it's not a huge amount of money, but I think that's something that this commission would need to be apprised of and recommend.
Correct.
Then we would take it through to the finance department.
As well as all benefits as
Yeah,
well.
that's personnel and benefits, but it is a little more complicated than some of the other general fund or special funds that are under elected officials. It's got quite a few layers to it,
So
but we'll work through that.
my understanding then is that you're going to work through some of these financial issues with the finance department, with finance and internally. And then if changes are required or recommended, then that would be presented to this commission for a presentation to the county after that.
If we needed to make changes.
Correct. And so I think then that this will have to be as an item of business at the next meeting, because as Madam Chair has indicated, she believes that that is only fair and equitable. And so there may be a motion to address this regardless of whether or not a new resolution is presented internally.
Thank you.
This is Roger again, just speaking to that, because it's a special fund and balancing the budget, it really is a matter of balancing the fund within the amount of revenue and cash on hand that you have. It's not as particular as a general fund department. So you have a cash fund balance and you have an amount of money that you've brought in to spend for this purpose. In the past, generally speaking, overall, if we're within the fund balance of that special fund, and we're not asking the general fund for additional money, we're usually in good position to continue to do the thing, especially if it's a small amount of money. So I think we'll be able to make those adjustments if we need to, but we certainly, if we had to change it, we'd bring it back.
Okay. All right. Thank you. The next item of business, which is listed as number 8, is new business. And generally we flip old business first and then new business. But for purposes of this, we'll stick with the agenda just for purposes of the minutes. And the item of business is election of the vice chair. The current iteration of the ordinance provides for the appointment of a vice chair by the chair to conduct business when the chair is unavailable. as chair, I am declining to appoint directly, but asking that this commission address the issue and make an election of the vice chair, which I think is only appropriate. Elections are a good thing. Democracy is a good thing. Voting is a good thing. And so at this time then, rather than appointing on my own a vice chair, I'm going to ask for a nomination of a member of the commission, and it has to be a member of the commission because it makes sense. I would only appoint from a member of the commission. Therefore, it should be elected, and our new ordinance is going to provide that as well. I'm going to ask if there's any nominations of a member of this commission for the position of vice chair.
I have such a nomination.
Um,
This is Chief Judge Villa. I'm going to nominate Teresa Barrario for the position of vice chairperson.
And I'll second that.
Seconded. Any discussion? I would note that Ms. Barrero, Madam Clerk Barrero, is the Kane County Circuit Clerk of the Court, who has been involved in one way or another with this case management system since its inception, and is knowledgeable about the purpose, the scope, is one of the principals in justice managers in the justice system. Ms. Barrero, I guess I should ask you if you'd accept the nomination. Okay. Any questions or other comments?
I believe a speech is in order, don't you think?
Speech. You have to sing.
Anything that you'd like to say about this, Ms. Barrero?
Just thank you. Thank you for the honor.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, I'm going to call the question, but I am going to ask for a roll call vote on this. Madam Recording Secretary, if you'll call the roll.
Conant, Belton,
Yes.
Garber, Mr. Garber,
Sorry, I had to unmute my phone there. Yes.
thank you. Myrna Molina,
Yes.
Nydia Molina,
Yes.
Mosser,
Yes.
Pirog,
Yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Villa,
Yes.
Wallers,
Yes.
Braca.
Yes. Majority unanimously then votes for Ms. Barrero. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
This may be you at a meeting. Old business, which is the ordinance amendments that have been discussed repeatedly. And again, Ms. Mosser, thanks to you in your office and Assistant State's Attorney Stephen Ford, who was so patient and so diligent in working on this. Is there a motion regarding the ordinance change?
So moved.
Ms. Barrero moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Mosser seconds.
Okay. Mosser second, as well as Judge Villa, Chief Judge Villa, who I believe was first. So Villa, Chief Judge Villa is a second. Discussion on this, and I guess I'm going to lead part of this discussion. Blair, could you go to page 8, please? Did I say Mr. Ford was patient? Because he worked with me, so he had to be patient and understanding. I added a handout that everyone got when they walked in today, and we'll make sure that our absent or our members that are both absent and attending electronically get it, which is entitled the Judicial and Public Safety Technology Commission Index, which I thought would be helpful for you in sort of understanding how this commission had morphed over a period of time. And basically, this commission was established in 2011 to deal with the selection and funding of a case management system for our justice system, and the funding of that to advise the county board. We have no direct funding authority nor selection authority. We are an advisory commission to the county board. In reading if the county board rejects what we advise, then it comes back to the commission for new advice and consideration. But it was an advisory commission, and from time to time over the years, this commission was amended in size, scope, and other functional manners. In 2014, Tyler Technologies was selected after those years of evaluation and recommendations and going through RFPs and other prospective candidates to provide the case management system. And this commission made that recommendation to the county board along with the budget and the funding long-term of the case management system and its updates, which was accepted at that time by the county board. And also in 2014, an ordinance was enacted that changed the name and scope of the commission to include not just the case management system, but also to include strategic building decisions regarding the Judicial Center campus. And 5 additional members were added to the commission to bring it to the number of 19. If we fast forward to today, with the benefit of our experience, practical, and knowing what's actually happened, these changes on the ordinance are submitted. And Blair, if we could go to page 8 on the attachments. Okay. I went to the strikeout version because that's really the simplest one to understand. The ultimate recommendation is going to be to remove the section of the strategic building decisions regarding the Judicial Center. But starting first with section 2, which deals with the members. Keeping track of membership and making nominations in the selection for the county board chair, and also the approval of the county board chair and the chief judge for the representative from the Bar Association, hearing from the Bar Association as well as discussing it with the chief judge and the county board chair. The amendments are being provided asking that the 2 of the discretionary county board member appointments appointed by the county board chair go ex officio, meaning that it will be the members will hold office by way of their position or title. And so instead of 2 random board members, it will be added as an ex officio member, the county board vice chair and the county board administration committee chair. We already have ex officio positions for the finance budget committee and the judicial and public safety committee. And Ms. Molina is the representative who is the committee chair for judicial and public safety, Myrna Molina. And the finance and budget committee, unfortunately, we sadly lost our permanent finance budget committee chair. And I'm not sure Madam Chair has yet appointed a permanent finance committee chair now. I know there's an acting.
Bill Leonard.
Is he permanent?
Yes.
Okay,
Well, for this year and then next year, it
right,
all switches.
right,
up.
right.
But for this year, he is permanent for this year.
For 2026.
That's accurate.
Okay. I'm not sure when that appointment came down. Otherwise,
January, I believe in January.
so I don't believe he got noticed at this meeting as a member.
No.
No, so we missed that. I'm so sorry. Because I knew he was acting.
He was the vice chair. He was the
right,
vice chair.
right.
And remember, Mr. Berman passed away in mid-December. so-
Right, so short notice on everything, okay. But so there's basically then 4 ex officio positions for county board members other than the county board chair, and 1 discretionary appointment by the county board chair. This amendment in section Roman numeral 7 reduces the number of members of the commission from 5 members to 4 from public at large. The current public at large members are Mr. Wallers, Mr. Felton, Dr. Garber, and myself. I hold the position as a licensed attorney practicing in Kane County. And so unless Madam Chair makes any changes on those, we wouldn't be adding anyone, but that would be then a full complement. The last recommendation and request on page 9, section 14, Roman numeral section 14 at the top, would be to make an ex officio position for the Kane County Bar Association of their current vice president, which Ms. Nydia Molina currently holds that position anyway. And Ms. Molina was appointed jointly right now by the county board chair and the chief judge. This would make it an ex officio position, which means that in every June, when there's a change in the county or the Kane County Bar Association, KCBA, has their elections, then we would have a turnover, but it would always be the vice president who is a high-ranking member, obviously, of the board. And so those were the changes that were made in order for ease to have a full complement of this commission, which is going to be really important if we have to make funding recommendations in the future that are going to change. If our funding recommendations change, we are going to need a battalion of people to help us do that. The next paragraph on page 9, first full paragraph, clarifies language and talks about the election in terms of the chair and vice chair of the commission. And Mr. Ford came up with almost all of that language. He did a great job in looking at other provisions and ordinances of other committees and other commissions in Kane County and making those recommendations. Blair, if you could fast forward to 10, page 10. This is probably the most significant change. The old section 10 is being deleted and we're just going to section 10, again, changing the name. Based on experience, this commission has never functioned well or been asked to function at all for recommendations on the Judicial Center campus. The idea back in 2014, just historically, was that there was going to be a need for another building to be built on what we unfortunately refer to in the system as the grassy knoll, which is the grass area that's in front of the Judicial Center on the campus. And the original plans for the construction of the Judicial Center campus included the building of a structure at that location, not for courtrooms, but to house personnel, circuit clerk, probation, public defender's office, state's attorney's office. But for multiple reasons, that was never come to fruition. And so that 2014 effort really was looking at that, but it never came to fruition. Members were added with that in mind, plus some other matters relating to compliance with the Open Meetings Act. And now that we know that this commission probably was never the best vehicle to make building recommendations and changes, because that's a whole nother group of people that involves a whole nother group of input from building administration and things that, you know, we have no ability to address and changes. The idea is to bring this commission back to its original roots and to keep us there. And so that is definitely a major change. Then there's some housekeeping changes to come into compliance with statutes relating to the remote attendance. And section 12 is a new provision adding relating to the scheduling of this commission meetings. This establishes what we have done routinely at different meetings when we've set the schedule for meetings for the coming year. But scheduling wise for the county and for planning purposes, it just seemed easier to have a regular meeting schedule that's established within the ordinance itself. It gives the ability for the chair to call a meeting, as well as a special meeting called at a request of 1/3 of the members. And it gives the ability to cancel meetings if it turns out that we don't have any regular meeting that has business to be addressed. And so that's a rundown of the changes that are proposed in the ordinance. Because this deals with this commission, the proper procedure after consultation with Assistant State's Attorney Ford would be that this commission makes a recommendation whether or not this ordinance should be approved by the county board. The county board could do this on their own anyway, but it would seem to be most prudent for this commission to make a recommendation if they're adopting this ordinance. And then I believe that the idea is going to be, after talking with Assistant State's Attorney Ford, he recommended that this be placed on the executive agenda for February, if approved by this commission. I would be happy, and I had already discussed with IT about being available to make a brief presentation to the executive committee with the use of a few explanatory slides to just sort of go over some of the changes that we've just discussed. And then if they make a recommendation, it will go to the full county board, hopefully if they approve, on February 10th, I think is the county board meeting. Right. And I don't know if a presentation would have to be made to the county board. I guess that would come with a recommendation from executive.
If you feel appropriate.
Yeah. So that's sort of the timetable and the procedures. So there being a motion and that explanation, are there any questions or comments or discussion at this time?
I have a comment, Madam Chair.
Yes.
So as I understand, and Vice President of the Bar, Molina, please correct me if I'm wrong on this. The discussion of changing the president of the Bar Association to the vice president was to avoid the short-term application of the president just being on for a year. And for those that don't know, the natural progression in the Bar Association is the vice president will become the president next year, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we didn't solve our problem if we just limit it to the vice president without maybe some language that says the vice president with a 2-year term or something like that, so that you would have the continuity that we talked about. Would you agree with that?
Yes, Nydia Molina. That was the issue that we had been seeing, is that if we look at how many meetings one term representative would have, you'd have 3 meetings at most.
Yeah.
Which then it takes us a little bit of time to get caught up with the rest of the committee members and understanding your terms, and being here for 2 meetings now, it is quite a bit. So that had been one of the concerns, is trying to make sure that we had continuity similar to what the other committee members had. It's the progression would be vice president to past president. So at most we would have 3 years of continuity, which I think would be useful in being a participant in the committee.
Okay, so as I understand it then, your question was directed on whether, so let me understand your comments, Ms. Molina. You're saying that you're talking about, the question was raised what you thought of a 2-year term. And that appeared to be favorable, but you're actually talking about a 3-year term for past president?
We can do a 2-year term. We just wanted to, we are, when we are elected to these positions, it is with the understanding that we will be on through, from vice president on, would be vice president, president, and past president. That would be our term through the Bar Association, and then we would be out of the executive board. So if you wanted to do a 3-year term, we could do a 3-year term to extend the continuity, but a 2-year term would obviously suffice. It's just, it's giving us a little bit more time to participate and provide some input.
This is Chief Judge Villa again. One of the reasons why I like whether the 2 or 3, a 3 seems favorable as well. I go to the board meetings for the Kane County Bar Association, and I also go to their strategic plan meeting. And the purpose of that is to educate the bar on a lot of things that we're doing so they can pass that out to the members. Case management systems and things like technology for the judiciary that's where the users come from. And if we have some continuity of the person who has a little bit of history, understands what this commission does, and then has some time to communicate both in an official capacity for 2 years and then sort of as advisory as past president, I think that's a worthwhile change to suggest. Certainly, we haven't, as currently worded, satisfied the need to avoid the 1-year turnover problem.
Okay. You say, Ms. Molina, that there's no adverse indicators for a past president to serve then?
No.
Okay.
Is it, our role as a past president is advisory for the Bar Association, but we are still expected to be at meetings. We're still expected to participate in that capacity.
The only concern that I have, I realize that a past president, there's no guarantee that a past president would continue to be a member of the Kane County Bar Association.
Fair enough.
Whereas a president and vice president must be a member of the Bar Association. And so I would say that 2 years would probably be the most sensible. So Chief Judge Villa, are you proposing an amendment
I am.
that would amend that provision to read the vice president of the Kane County Bar Association for a term of 2 years commencing in 2026 and every 2 years thereafter?
Yes, that's easy language to understand. Ms. Molina, do you think that would be easy for whoever comes in behind you to figure out?
Yes.
That it's not the next vice president, it'll be the second vice president.
Yes.
So the vice president will skip a year.
All right. Is there a second on that motion?
Roth will second that motion.
Any further discussion on that amendment? Okay, on that amendment to that section, I'm going to call for a voice vote. All in favor? Well, wait, before I do that, I'm going to ask Ms. Masser, do you have any comments on that as the state's attorney who's responsible for really sort of reviewing these and I know Assistant State's Attorney Ford was unable to be here today for consultation purposes.
No, Judge, my
okay.
compliment or my comment has nothing to do with that. It has to do with ASA Ford. I think he's done great work. Just very simply, he is an amazing asset to this office. I thank you for complimenting me, but the assignment was the least amount of work I could possibly do regarding this. He is an amazing attorney and all of the credit goes to him for this. I just wanted to make that clear.
All right, thank you. Then I'm going to call for a voice vote on the amendment to that proposed subsection XIV. All in favor, please indicate approval by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. It's amended as proposed. The next relevant subsection, actually, we reviewed all of them except for like some Scrivener's errors and to come into compliance. Thank you, Chief Judge Villa, for that suggestion. Any other comments or discussion? Okay, I am going to call for a voice vote on a roll call vote on this matter, as it is an amendment to our ordinances. Madam Recording Secretary, will you call the roll on this?
Yes.
Conant, Felton,
Yes.
Garber,
Yes.
Myrna Molina,
Yes.
Nydia Molina,
Yes.
Maser,
Yes.
Pirog,
Yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Villa,
Yes.
Wallers,
Yes.
Braca.
Yes. Motion carries. This amended version will be amended for presentation to the county board with the request to place it on the executive committee agenda. I think it's the 4th, if I didn't say that already, or is it the 3rd? Whatever that Wednesday is,
It's the third, it's the last.
the 4th. You're
fourth
the
Wednesday.
Wednesdays, right?
Yes.
For the 4th. Okay. I don't believe that there are any other items of new or old business that were missed. Is there a motion to put the reports on file?
Roth would request a motion to do unanimous approval to put the reports on file.
Requesting then of a voice vote on that motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 That motion carries. No need for executive session. No other matters appearing then for business.
Roth would make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Call for a voice vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye.